You open YouTube, looking for one quick video. Just one. 20 minutes later, you're somehow watching How Penguins Propose, Why Medieval People Slept Twice, and What If Earth Suddenly Stops Spinning? Excuse me? When did that become today's priority? Everyone blames the algorithm. The algorithm got me. The algorithm recommended it. The algorithm knows me. But here's the funny part. The algorithm never clicked the video. You did. And before YouTube decides what to recommend next, your brain has already decided what deserves its attention. So maybe the real mystery isn't YouTube. Maybe the mystery is you. Think about the last video you couldn't stop watching. Was it because the editing was amazing? Probably not.
Was it because the camera cost $10,000?
Definitely not. Some people film with a phone, sit in a messy room, forget to comb their hair, and somehow millions of people watch every single second. Meanwhile, someone else spends weeks making a masterpiece and gets 43 views. Ouch. Hey, I'm Ponder, and I spend way too much time wondering why our brains do weird things. Like, why complete strangers on the internet somehow become part of our daily routine. If you're curious about psychology, human behavior, and the hidden reasons behind everyday life, make sure to hit subscribe, because around here, we go beyond every answer. Now, before you think, cool, another video teaching people how to go viral. Nope. This isn't about becoming famous. It's about understanding something much more interesting. Why your brain chooses certain people and completely ignores others. Because long before YouTube existed, your brain had one job: figure out what's worth paying attention to. That instinct helped your ancestors survive. Today, it's deciding what video you click next. So today, we're uncovering the 5 psychological secrets that almost every viral YouTuber unknowingly uses. Not tricks, not hacks, real psychology. And once you see them, I promise, you'll never scroll through YouTube the same way again. All right, let's uncover the first psychological secret. And honestly, it's probably the reason you clicked this video. Secret number 1, curiosity beats information. That might sound backwards, but your brain doesn't chase answers. It chases questions. Imagine I walked up to you and said, I know the weirdest thing about your brain, and then I just walked away. You'd probably stand there thinking, hey, come back. Not because you suddenly became a neuroscience fan, but because your brain hates unfinished information. Psychologists call this the curiosity gap. It's the gap between what I know and what I want to know, and your brain desperately wants to close it. That's why these situations drive us crazy. Your friend texts, we need to talk, and disappears for 3 hours. Who does that? Or your favorite TV show ends with, to be continued. Excuse me? Continued when? Or someone says, you'll never guess what happened today. Congratulations. You've just rented a room in my brain until you tell me. Now think about YouTube. The biggest creators rarely tell you everything at the beginning. Instead, they ask questions. What if? Can this actually happen? I tried something nobody has ever done before. Notice something? They're not selling information. They're selling curiosity. And your brain happily pays with its attention. There's even a psychological principle called the Zeigarnik effect. It says your brain remembers unfinished tasks and unanswered questions better than completed ones, which means every unanswered question becomes a tiny open tab in your mind, and your brain hates having too many tabs open. Takeaway. People don't click because they found an answer. They click because they found a question they can't ignore. But here's something even stranger. Getting you to click is actually the easy part. Keeping you watching for another 5 minutes? That's controlled by an entirely different psychological secret. And trust me, your brain absolutely loves this one.
So you clicked the video. Now here's the real challenge. Why didn't you leave after 30 seconds? Seriously, nobody is forcing you to stay. There's no attendance sheet, no final exam. You could have left, like right now, but you didn't. Why? Here's psychological secret number 2. Your brain loves anticipation more than reward. Most people think dopamine is the feel-good chemical. Not exactly. Dopamine is more like your brain saying, hang on, something interesting might happen next. It's less about getting the reward and more about expecting one. Think about it. Ever refresh your phone, even though you know nobody texted you? Or check the fridge 5 minutes after checking it, as if a chocolate cake magically spawned while you were gone? I admire the optimism. Your brain isn't chasing the reward.
It's chasing the possibility of one. Great YouTubers understand this. Every 10 or 15 seconds, they give your brain something new. A surprising fact, a funny joke, a visual change, a plot twist, a question. Just enough to make your brain think, okay, one more minute. Then another minute, and another. Before you know it, the video's over, and somehow you watched the whole thing without noticing. Here's the lesson. People don't stay because every second is exciting. They stay because every few seconds, there's another reason to keep watching. Takeaway. Curiosity gets the click. Anticipation earns the watch time. But now comes the weirdest part. How can someone you've never met, never spoken to, and who has absolutely no idea you exist feel like an old friend? That brings us to psychological secret number 3. And once you notice it, you'll never look at your favorite creators the same way again.
Quick question. Why do you trust someone you've never met? You've never had coffee with them, never texted them. They don't even know your name. Yet somehow, their new video feels like catching up with a friend. How does that make any sense? Here's psychological secret number 3. Familiarity creates trust. Your brain has a shortcut. The more often you see something, the safer it feels. Psychologists call this the mere exposure effect. It's why your favorite song gets better after a few listens, and why the weird haircut you laughed at last week suddenly doesn't look so weird anymore. Funny how that works. The biggest creators understand this. They don't reinvent themselves every week. They keep things familiar. The same personality, the same style, the same sense of humor, the same voice. Your brain starts recognizing them in seconds. And every time that happens, it quietly says, "Oh, I know this person," even though you've never actually met. This isn't just YouTube. It's why you keep ordering from the same restaurant, buy the same cereal, or wave at your neighbor you've never actually spoken to. Your brain loves what's familiar, because familiar usually feels safe. Takeaway. People don't trust what's popular. They trust what feels familiar. But trust alone doesn't create millions of loyal fans. There's one secret that's even stronger. It's the reason people proudly wear merchandise, join communities, and defend creators they've never met. Let's uncover psychological secret number 4. Let me ask you something. Why do people say, "I'm a Marvel fan, I'm a gamer, I'm a coffee person"? Notice something? They're not talking about what they watch. They're talking about who they are. Here's psychological secret number 4. People don't subscribe to videos. They subscribe to an identity. Psychologists call this social identity theory. Your brain naturally looks for groups that make you feel like you belong, because belonging has always been a survival advantage. Thousands of years ago, being part of a tribe could literally keep you alive. Today, your tribe just happens to have a comment section. The biggest creators don't just build an audience. They build a community. Watch the comments. People don't say, "Nice video." They say, "We're back. I never miss an upload. I've been here since day 1. That's no longer a viewer. That's a member. And members don't just watch. They come back. Again and again. It's the same reason people support the same sports team for decades, wear the same brand, or argue over whether pineapple belongs on pizza. By the way, if you said yes, we might need to talk. Takeaway. Entertainment gets attention. Identity creates loyalty. But even loyal communities don't explain one final mystery. Why do some videos stay in your memory for years, while others disappear before you've even finished watching? That brings us to the most powerful psychological secret of them all. Quick test. Can you remember what you had for lunch 3 Tuesdays ago? Probably not. But I bet you can remember a video that made you laugh so hard you cried, or one that completely blew your mind. Why? Because your brain doesn't remember everything. It remembers what made you feel something. Here's the 5th and final psychological secret. Emotion makes people remember. Your brain is constantly filtering information. Most of it gets deleted. But the moment something makes you laugh, feel amazed, surprised, curious, or even emotional, your brain goes, "Whoa, this might be important." And that's when it stores the memory. Think about the videos you've shared with your friends. Was it because they had amazing facts? Sometimes. But more often, it's because they made you say, "Dude, you have to watch this." The best creators don't just teach. They make you laugh, wonder, smile, feel inspired, or completely question what you thought you knew.
Because facts inform people. Emotions move people. And here's the part that completely changed how I think about YouTube. None of these creators are using magic. They're speaking a language your brain has understood for thousands of years. Let's put all 5 secrets together. Secret number 1, curiosity gets your attention. Secret number 2, anticipation keeps you watching. Secret number 3, familiarity builds trust. Secret number 4, identity creates loyalty. Secret number 5, emotion makes you remember. That's it. 5 simple psychological principles behind millions of views. Here's what's really fascinating. This video was never actually about YouTube. It was about you. Because these 5 psychological secrets don't just explain viral videos. They explain why advertisements work, why movies keep you on the edge of your seat, why you keep refreshing your phone, why certain brands become your favorites, why some people naturally become unforgettable. Once you understand how your attention works, you stop being controlled by it. And that's a superpower. So the next time you're scrolling through YouTube, don't just ask, why did this video go viral? Ask yourself, which psychological secret just worked on me? If you learned something new today, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I'm Ponder, and remember, the moment you understand why people behave the way they do, you've already gone beyond every answer.